It may have taken more patience than usual to wait for another new Champions League season, but the Champions League draw for the group stage has been confirmed, with the matches for the group stage beginning in the 20th and the 21st of October. So now let's go through each group, and there are some very exciting groups here. Starting off with Group A, and it looks like that there are two clear favourites to go through to the next round in defending champions Bayern Munich and Atletico Madrid, who are the obvious powerhouses here. But Lokomotiv Moscow have proven to make things difficult for the opposition, as Juventus in particular discovered last year, and Salzburg did score 16 goals in the group stages last season as well. But it's very hard to look past Bayern and Atletico, who both have a phenomenal squad and two amazing coaches to advance through, and I am predicting that Bayern and Atletico to finish first and second, while I have Lokomotiv taking the Europa League spot. I think in general it will be pretty hard to stop Bayern Munich from winning the Champions League again, despite losing Thiago to Liverpool in recent weeks. Group B is a little bit more interesting, and while Real Madrid and Inter are deservedly the main favourites, with Inter in particular looking like they're in for a great season, don't sleep on Shakhtar Donetsk, who are regulars in the Champions League for the most part, and do pull off the occasional round of 16 appearance. And while Borussia Mönchengladbach are deservingly in the Champions League for this campaign, I just don't see them being strong enough to compete against their opponents in this group. It was hard to differentiate between Inter and Real Madrid for first place, but I went with Real Madrid in the end, simply due to the Zidane effect, and I also think that the squad goes slightly deeper than Inter's, and will be in a better position to utilise the 5 subs rule due to COVID-19. Inter, I predict, will finish second, but this isn't a guarantee either, especially with Conte's poor record in Europe. And even though I have Shakhtar finishing third, they will put a lot of pressure on Inter all the way up to the final match day. And now to Group C, and Man City couldn't really wish for an easier group, but the battle for second spot should be really intriguing. Although Porto are probably the strongest out of themselves, Marseille and Olympiacos, you cannot discount the French and Greek teams either. Although it has got to be said that Marseille are in a slump right now and are currently around mid-table in the French league. Olympiacos could prove to be a bit of a wild card and are usually unpredictable in European competition, so they do have a bit of a potential to surprise, although I doubt it here. My final prediction for this group is Man City to finish first, and they'll do this very comfortably, I think. Porto will finish second, and with Marseille finishing third, and Olympiacos fourth. Now over to Group D, and many may think that Liverpool should be the favourites for top spot here. Well, let me tell you, I think this is far from the case. From what I've seen so far in the past 3 to 4 weeks, their defense hasn't held up as strongly as I thought they would have. And ultra-attacking teams like Atalanta and Ajax, who are deadly on the counter, could really pose a big threat for Liverpool. And who knows, if Liverpool are not careful, they could entirely miss out on progressing through to the knockout stages. I really like this Atalanta side, who play with no fear, with impressive players like Josip Ilicic, Alejandro Gomez, and Duvan Zapata, and Ajax also have some formidable players themselves, like Dusan Tadic and Quincy Promes. But in saying this, I think Liverpool will finish on top, but only just. Atalanta will finish second for me, and I have Ajax unfortunately just narrowly missing out on the knockout stages, while Midtjylland, I hope I pronounced that right, are only here to make up the numbers sadly. Although, keep an eye out for Aussie Awa Mobile, who I think will really impress in this competition. Group E is another group where you think it should be easy to pick who goes through, but Rennes have been fantastic in the past 12 months and are really solid defensively and are so far undefeated at the top of the table in Ligue 1. Chelsea and Sevilla though do have reasons why they should finish in the top 2. Chelsea have made a ton of signings in the summer and will be really dangerous once these signings start to gel, and while Sevilla showed the world in the Super Cup against Bayern that they can really still be very competitive, and they should be able to hold their own against the European powerhouses. And I am a really big fan of Ivan Rakitic, who I think can make a huge impact for this Sevilla side. While we can't forget about Krasnodar too, where Russian teams usually have a major advantage at their home games. For the predictions here, I actually have Sevilla pipping Chelsea for top spot. Chelsea will still qualify in my opinion, but will do so in second. When, for me, take the Europa spot, and Krasnodar will finish bottom in perhaps unfortunate circumstances. Over to Group F, and I think this group is a little bit harder to predict. Dortmund are usually very consistent performers in the Champions League, and with young prodigy Erling Haaland leading the front line, they will be very dangerous. Lazio have potential to be dangerous too, especially that Ciro Immobile and Luis Alberto are still relatively underrated. But I won't lie, they haven't looked convincing in European competitions in recent times, which could really bite them. While Zenit could be a smoky to make the knockout stages, as they are currently on top of the Russian league and easily have the best attack in the league so far. But can they carry this over to the Champions League? That will be the big question. Admittedly, although I know very little about this Club Brugge squad, I can't really see them making much of an impact in this group. This was a very hard prediction to make, not so much for who will finish top because I think Dortmund should finish on top, but in terms of who gets that second spot between Lazio and Zenit. But I'm actually going to controversially say that I think Zenit will actually finish second, just basically for the fact that Lazio do not seem to perform well in Europe. Group G could have not looked any better for Juventus and Barcelona, who should both have zero excuses now about this good draw for the two sides. It's going to be so exciting to see Lionel Messi go up against Cristiano Ronaldo, and the two games that they do play against one another will be absolute blockbuster games which will be must watch for every football fan. To be quite blunt, however, this group outcome is probably 99% done even before a kick of the football in any of these games. Barca and Juve just have far more talent and depth than Dinamo Kiev and Ferencváros. I probably pronounced that wrong, I do apologise for that. Who will be in the Champions League for the first time in 25 years, the Hungarian team. But it will be interesting to see who out of Barca and Juve will claim that top spot. Barca for me clearly have the better midfield out of the two teams, but I feel that Juve have more options in attack and don't have to heavily rely on one player as much in Messi, as Ronaldo, Dybala, Morata, Douglas Costa and Kulusevski are very capable in attack. So for this reason, I have Juve in first, Barcelona in second, Kiev third, and the Hungarian team in fourth. And last, but definitely not least, Group H, which should really be called the Group of Death because all four teams here are big, well at least in terms of financial capacity. I will rule out Istanbul here, simply because they look like their performances have significantly declined since winning the Super League last season and are now winless in that competition as of the new season and sit in last place, so that's definitely not good at all. But each of the three other teams all have a great case as to why not only they should qualify, but why they should finish on top. PSG will be seeking redemption after their loss in the Champions League final not long ago, and Neymar, Mbappe and co will all be hungry for success. While for Man U, Bruno Fernandes has revolutionised this team attacking-wise, but will the defensive pairing of Maguire and Lindelof be strong enough for European football? RB Leipzig made a great run to the semis, with young defender Dayot Upamecano particularly impressing, but the question mark will be whether this team is capable of putting together another season good enough to match it against the true elites. Don't forget as well, RB Leipzig lost to PSG last season in the Champions League semi-final, so RB Leipzig will be very motivated and will definitely be looking out to get revenge against them. This table was definitely the hardest to predict, but I have decided to put PSG in first place, followed by RB Leipzig, and then Man United, and I have chosen RB Leipzig over Man United simply for the fact that I do believe that Leipzig's squad in general is still very underrated, and I do think there was a reason why Leipzig did make it so far in the competition last season. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and let me know what your predictions are in the Champions League.